Hi guys! This video is going to be a step-by-step tutorial where we're going to create an e-commerce website with Django. Our users will be able to browse products, sort by categories, add products to cart, delete the products from cart, and then proceed to checkout, where they'll fill a checkout form. When they submit it, they'll get an order confirmation. On the back end of things, we'll be able to easily add more categories, more products, and of course, track the orders that we get. And one of the coolest things about this is that we're gonna make our website look good very easily thanks to Tailwind CSS. Let's start coding. So, as the saying goes, all good things start with an empty directory. So let's create an empty directory and let's call it Django e-commerce. And now let's open it in Visual Studio Code. I like to do this by right-clicking and hitting open in terminal and then typing in code space period and hitting enter, and that does it. Alrighty, so now let's open terminal and talk about prerequisites. Of course, we're going to need to make sure that we have Python installed on our system, since we'll be coding in Python and using Django, which is a Python framework. I'll check that I have Python by typing the command py -- version. If I see a version number, that means I have Python installed. If I didn't, I would see an error. Okay, so the second prerequisite is Node.js. We're going to need Node in order to use Tailwind to style our project. I'm also going to check that I have it on my computer with the command node space -v, hitting enter. Okay, so I see the version number. That means that I have it installed. If you see an error, that means you should install it. It's so easy to install from the Node.js website. All right, so now that we have made sure that we have Python and Node.js, we could start by creating a virtual environment. So py -m venv, and I will call the virtual environment venv also. Okay, I'll hit enter now, and the venv directory appeared. Okay, now we can activate it. So venv scripts activate. Right. Our virtual environment is now active, so now we can install Django. So pip install Django. Okay, Avast is suspicious as usual. All right, Django is installing. While we wait for it to install, I'd like to ask you to subscribe if you like this content and hit the like button. Thank you. Right, so now that we finally installed Django, we could start by creating our Django project. So the command for that is Django admin start project. And what should we call our project? How about e-commerce site? Is that a good name? Probably not, but let's go with it anyways. Okay, I hit enter. So it's too late, let's change our minds. Alright, so our project scaffolding was created for us. Let's cd into the e-commerce site directory. And since we want to use Tailwind CSS in our project, let's create a package.json file. To do this, we can type in the command npm init. And since we want to save time, let's add the Y flag. Y here stands for yes, and by having it included, we're telling npm that we just want to say yes to all the default values you're gonna ask us about, so we don't have to answer a lot of questions. So let's hit enter. Yep. And our package.json file was created for us. Yay. All right, so next up we want to install Tailwind. I'm just going to copy the command from the docs. Yep, that's the command we're looking for. The D flag here stands for save dev, which will add Tailwind as a dev dependency in our package.json. All right, let's copy it and paste it and hit enter. Okay, It's installing. All right. And see, Tailwind CSS was added as a dev dependency. Next up, we want to create the Tailwind.config.js file. And to do this, we're going to use this command, npx tailwindcss init. Right, let's copy it also and paste it and hit enter. Okay. It created Tailwind CSS config file. So now that we have our tailwind.config.js file, the next step is to add the paths of our template file to it. So let's do that. Since this is a Django project, our templates are going to be in a directory called templates. And then we can add 2 stars to our paths, which tells the globbing system to match all files and folders at any levels of depth under the templates directory. And then let's add another star. .html. The star.html means any file with any name ending with the extension HTML. All right, so now that we've told Tailwind where to find our templates, let's tell Django where to look for them as well. Let's go to settings.py and find templates. Yep, here it is. Okay, and let's add the path to where our templates will be. So Django already imported pathlib for us. So all we gotta do is just add base.dir / templates. And now Django would look for our templates under the base directory. And since apps.dir is set to true as well, so that means that Django will also look for the templates folder in each app directory. All right, so now let's go back to configuring Tailwind. Where were we? Oh, we need to add the Tailwind directives to our CSS, which means we need to create a CSS file. All right, so let's create a directory within our root folder and call it static. And inside it, let's create another directory and maybe call it rsc or source. And inside it, we can put our CSS file. Let's call it styles.css. And over here, we want to add the Tailwind directives. So let's just paste them. Awesome. All right, let's go back to the Tailwind docs. And over here, it tells us that the next step is to run the command line tool to scan our templates for classes and build our CSS. And it gave us this command that we can run. So what I actually like to do in order to save tons of time is just put the command in my package.json file as a custom script. So let's just go to scripts in our package.json and let's add a custom command or custom script, and let's call it, for example, watch CSS. And then we're just gonna paste the command we got from the docs, and then we're gonna customize it to suit our needs. Okay, so let's look at it. Over here we have npx tailwindCSS. We want to keep this as is. And over here we have the I flag. I flag here means input. So now we need to change this path to match the path of the CSS file we've just created. So let's do that. So the path is static /source /styles.css, right? Okay, and over here we want to specify the output file. We want to specify the path we want the output file to be in, basically, because the O flag stands for output. Okay, so how about we have it also be in the static file, but instead of source, let's make another directory and call it dist. And let's have the file also be called styles.css. I feel like this makes more sense, right? All right, now let's test our command. Let's see if that would work and if a dist directory will be created with a styles.css file in it. Okay, let's run it. npm run watch css. Let's hit enter. All right, it worked. Cool. Let's check our directory. Oh, we have a dist folder created. Inside it, there's styles.css. Super duper cool. Alrighty, so since our static directory, this one, is not tied to a particular app, then we should tell Django where to find it. Let's just go to settings.py and just add static files. There's like so. And I am just going to copy this line from the docs and paste it because just like in the docs, our static directory is in the base there. Let's remove this and this. Yep, that should do it. Now, since we want to serve static files during development, we should not forget this. Steps, once again, I just have the docs open on how to static files. And what I'm going to do is just follow the instructions and go to urls.py. And I am going to just add this code. So first I'll add the import statements where we import static and we import settings. And then I'm just going to add this line after the URL patterns list, like so. So far what we've done is we have configured Tailwind CSS and we have told Django about our static directory. And we also told Django to look for templates in the base directory as well, which means we can go ahead and create a templates folder. So templates. Okay. And inside it, we want to create a base.html file. And that's where we're going to keep our HTML boilerplate. And that's also where we're going to link to our dist/styles.css file. Alrighty, let's find us some HTML boilerplate. Okay, I'm going to just copy this HTML boilerplate and then just adjust it. So pasting it, and instead of having the title be hello world, we could add, for example, block title over here, right? So we can later change the title of our pages whenever we want, right? So let's add end block, and we can add a default title if we wanted to. We can call it my super cool shop site. All right, and then we wanna, of course, link to our styles.css. So in order to be able to do this, we need to add the static template tag. So I'm just copying it from the docs like I usually do. I'm just gonna paste it here. And then let's add a link tag. And let's add href. And we wanna set it to static dist styles.css. Right, and then rel, I'm gonna set it to style sheet. All right, let's also remove this h1 element that came with the boilerplate. And let's instead add block content. Alrighty, so I think now would be a good time to start creating some apps. I'm thinking that we could start with an app where we keep the models and views for our products, the products we want to sell in our shop. So let's go ahead and create an app, but actually let's open new terminal because we're running the watch CSS script here. So I'm just going to open new terminal, and Visual Studio Code activated venv for us, so that's cool, so we don't need to activate it. But what we need to do is cd into our app, so e-commerce site. And now let's start an app. So py manage.py start app. We can call it products. And of course, we're gonna be creating other apps for other functionalities within our project. So let's hit enter. And our products app was created. All right, so the first thing I think we should do now that we have created our products app is obviously tell Django about it, right? So let's go to settings.py and let's find installed apps and let's just add products to the list. Alrighty, I think that should do it. Okay, now let's go to our products models.py and let's define some models. So as you know, when we're defining models in Django, we're basically telling Django how we want our database to look like, how we want our data to be organized. So Django kindly already imported models for us from django.db. Let's begin by defining a category model because our products will fall under different categories. So if we decide to make it a clothes shop, for example, a category could be shirts, another one could be dresses or pants or whatever, right? Okay, so our category model wants to have a name probably. So let's set it to models.shorefield and setting max length is required. Let's set it to 250. Then we want to define a slug so that our URL actually makes sense. So slug field, and we want to set unique to true. Right, and it's always a good idea, in my opinion, to add the definition for the string method so that we have a proper human readable representation of our model. Right, so let's add it. Now we want to return self.name. Alrighty, and since the plural of category is not just category with an S added to it, so let's add class meta over here and let's define or tell Django about the plural of category. So verbose name plural. Let's set it to categories. Otherwise, Django will just add S to the word category and be weird. All right, so now that we have created the category model, we can create the product model. All right, so just like our category model, our product model is gonna inherit from Django's model class. So models.model. And how about we make it so that every product will have to belong to a category. So let's create a one-to-many relationship between product and category where there are many categories and a product has to just belong to one of them. Okay, so category, let's set it to models.foreign key. And here, let's specify the model we want to have a foreign key relationship with, which is category. Let's add a related name. Let's make it products. And now let's set what happens if a category is deleted. And let's have it be models dot cascade, and that would make it so that if a category table was deleted, the products would also get deleted too, the products within it. All right, and just like we've done with our category model, let's give our product a name field, and it's gonna be set to models.shorefield. We wanna make the max length 250 also, right? And let's also add a slug field and let's set it to models.slug field as well. And let's set max length to, let's say, 250 also. And let's add a description field in case we want to add a description, right? We want to set it to models.text field, and we would like to allow blank to be true, so we can leave it empty. And of course, since it's a shop, our products are going to have prices, so let's set a price field. And maybe you can set it to decimal field. Let's set max digits to 10. And we could also set decimal places, have it stay at 2 decimal places. And also we want the field to tell us if a product is available or not. So let's add available. It's gonna be Boolean field because our products could either be available or not. And let's set the default to true, I guess. You can set it to false if you want. Alrighty, and in order to be better able to keep track of when things were added and so on, keep our database organized, we can add created field. And we can set it to model datetime field. And we want a timestamp to be added when an object is created. To do this, let's set auto now add to true. Now whenever you add an object, a date will be attached to it. Okay, let's also add updated, and we're also going to use model.datetime field, and this time we want to set O2 now to true. So now when a field is updated, the time on which it was updated will also be added. Alright, now since it is a shop where we'll be selling products, supposedly people would probably want to see how they look. So let's add an image field to handle image uploads. And let's set it to models.image field. And now we want to tell Django where to save our images, where to keep them. And we would like to keep them in a directory called products, probably, since they are pictures of products. Now, in order for this directory to actually exist, we need to go to settings.py and configure our media settings. We're also going to need to install Pillow. We'll get to that in a second. Don't worry about it. Now let's make our image field optional by setting blank to true and null to true as well. Okay, and just like we've done with our category model, let's define string method and let's set it to self.name. All right, and since we are going to want to get access to our products from different templates and probably different views as well, let's define method get absolute URL, which is going to be super duper handy for us. All right, so we are going to need to import reverse from Django. So let's do that. So from Django.urls import reverse, and now let's return reverse. So reverse will allow us to generate a URL pattern based on arguments we provide, right? And the first argument we need to give it is the URL pattern name, so Django knows what we're actually talking about and what we want to route to or reverse to or whatever. So in order to get a pattern name, we're going to need to create a view and then create urls.py and map to that view, right? In our urls.py. So I'm thinking we can write the pattern here, write the name of the pattern that we are yet to create, and then just go ahead and create it, just so that we don't forget to do that. Okay, so our app's name is products, right? And I'm thinking we're probably gonna call the URL pattern product detail, right? And we wanna pass in quarks, have it be the ID, self.id. Quarks should be a dictionary, actually. Let me fix that. All right, and we want to add in slug self dot slug. All right, so now let's go to views.py and take care of the views quickly, or as quickly as we can. Okay, so first thing we want to do is import our models. So from models, import category and product. Let's open the models.py to the side. Okay, so we have defined class category or category model, and we have defined the product models. So, and we said that we need to create a view for the product detail. And of course, it goes without saying that we would like to create a view that lists all our products. So let's begin by defining the view that's going to list all of our product. Maybe you can call it product list. And since this is a view, let's pass in request as a parameter. All right. And for our products, we would want to sort by category, right? If the user wants to see only pants, they should click on pants category and get only pants. Okay, so in order to be able to filter by category, maybe we could pass in category slug as a parameter that would help us filter. Now, for cases where we don't want to filter as category, let's start by defining category to none. And also, let's also get a hold of all the products in our inventory that are available. So let's set products to product.objects.filter, filter by available. So available true. Okay. Now, if category slug is provided, then we want to obviously get a hold of that category. So let's set category to get object or 404, which we need to import. Get object or 404. So let's set it to get object or 404. And we want to get the object from the category model whose slug matches the category slug that was passed in. Okay, now that we have a category, now we can get the products that fall under the category. Be products.filter category. So this way we are telling Django that if a category slug was passed in, then we want to get a hold of the products that have a foreign key relationship with the category we got a hold of using the category slug. All right, what else should we do? Okay, let's add the return statement under request. We want to render the template that is going to have our product list, which we haven't yet created. So let's just write the path to it and then let's create it. It's going to be in a template directory and we're going to put a directory in it called products, and then inside it let's have another directory and just call it product, and then let's just have our HTML file which we can call list.html. Then we want to pass the context. We want to pass in a category and we want to pass the products. I feel like it would probably be a good idea also to pass in all the available categories. So let's just do it. It's just a couple of lines of code at most. So let's just do it. So categories, category dot objects dot all. All right, and now let's just add categories to our context dictionary. So categories. All right, and now let's quickly define the product detail view. So def product detail takes request as a param, an ID, and slug. Okay, so let's set product to get object or 404. I get it from the product model. ID is ID. I want the product with a passed in ID and the passed in slug. And I, of course, want it to be an available product. So let's set available to true. Okay, now let's add the return statement. I'm gonna render request also, and let's pass in the path to the template that we have not yet created. So just like with our product list, our template is going to be in a directory called products named after our app, and inside I will create another directory called product, and inside it I will add our detail.html file. Okay, now let's add in the context we're going to pass in. I'm going to pass in product, obviously, and it's set to product. All right, so now I think it would be a good time to just create the URLs file and configure the URLs for the views we've just created. So let's just do it quickly. So from Django.urls import path, and we also want to just import our views, right? So let's just import all our views. Actually, let's open views.py to the side so we see the views we have. Okay, let's add in the app name, and our app name is products. Okay, URL patterns. URL patterns is a list. Okay, the first pattern we have should be the product list pattern, right? The path to our product list. Okay, so it's views.product list, and we want to call it product list. Next up is product list by category, and this one would be slug and category slug, and we want to add a slash here, and the views that goes with this pattern is the product list view. Let's give it the name product list by category, and then finally let's add the product detail. So path product, and then our ID, our product ID, so int ID slash slug, and finally a slash, and the view is the product detail view, and the name, like we said earlier, we want to call it product detail. And now in order for these patterns to actually be found, we need to go to the urls.py in our project directory, this one, and we need to include them, right? So let's import include so that we can include the URL patterns we have just created. Let's open them to the side also. All right, so yeah, we've imported include, so path, and we include products.urls, and we can add the namespace products. All right, now we can create the templates in our products app. So let's create new folder, and let's call it templates, and let's make sure to follow the path that we have specified here for our template files. So inside our templates folder, let's create a new folder and call it products, and inside it another one. I'll call it product. And the first file we need to create is the list.html file. And we also want to create the detail.html file. Okay, so for both of them, we want to extend the base.html file that we have created earlier in our project directory. Yes, this one. Okay, so we've extended it here, and we also wanna do the same for our list.html. Okay, and now for our detail, we can override block title. Can make it product.name. I misspelled product. And we wanna do the same thing for the list.html file also. Here we could just make the title my site. Right, and let's also override block content. You wanna do the same for both templates. So I'm copying and pasting here as well. All right, and for now, let's just add an h1 element that says product.name. And here, let's just have it say my site for now. So we would probably first just want to know if everything works the way it's supposed to. All right, before we try to run our project and make migrations and do all of this, do you guys remember how we added an image field here? And I told you that we are gonna need to configure it, right? So one of the things that we need in order to be able to handle the image files is we are gonna need to install Pillow. So let's just do that. So the command for installing Pillow is pip install Pillow. I'm just gonna copy it from pypy.org and paste it. Right, and now we can hit enter and just have it get installed. Okay, we installed Pillow, yay. All right, so now we still gotta go to settings.py and we need to configure the media settings. So let's just scroll all the way down and let's add media URL and let's just set it to media. And just like we've done for the static configuration, we are gonna need to go to the urls.py in our project directory and we're gonna need to add another line of code. I'm just gonna copy it from the docs. Yes, this is it. Just copy and paste. All right. Now looking at this code, I've noticed that we have defined the static URL. We haven't defined the static root though, which we should probably define. So let's define static root, which basically tells Django where to put static files when we run collect static for production. We can just set it to base.dir/static. Similarly, let's just set the media root. Let's also just set it to base.dir/media. Okay, so I think that now we are ready to try and run server for the first time and make migrations and all of that. Let's start with pymanage.py run server. Okay, we're getting errors. So, and products models.py. Yes, I do mean model. Thank you for telling me. Okay, now upload. Oh, here. Unexpected argument upload. What should it be? I think maybe it should be upload to, not upload, right? I think. Right, I'm going to restore it, run server again. So pymanage.py run server. Okay, bad operand type. Okay, so that fixes it, but we have another error. Error in settings.py. So maybe this should be called static files instead, and this could be called media files instead. And here it says that upload to argument must be a relative path and not an absolute path. So that's another issue. Okay, so maybe I could remove this. All right, we fixed all the errors. Yay. Well, for now. Alrighty, so we should probably run migrations, but I'm really curious to see what happens if I follow link. There is another error probably in the list.html, but we're going to try and fix it after we make migrations and run migrations if it's still there. All right, anyways, let's disconnect and run migrations pymanage.py. make migrations. Let's hit enter. Okay, and now let's migrate. So py manage.py migrate. Awesome. All right, let's run server again. So py manage.py run server. Okay, right, let's refresh. Okay, so the error is still there. Alrighty, what if I try to set category slug to none initially? Maybe that would fix the error. Oh, it did. That's nice. That's nice. All right, so let's refresh. Yay, my site. Alrighty, so this is super cool. So now, since we've spent so much time setting up Tailwind, I'm really curious to see if it works. So let's go to list.html and add Tailwind classes. Oh, I actually did not add an h1 element, which is very embarrassing. Okay, so let's just add an h1 element. And then we want to add a Tailwind class just to try. Okay, let's try font bold, for example. Ready? And now let's refresh. Oh, nothing happened. That's not great. Okay, maybe it's because we have created a new app and we added templates in it and we didn't add the path to the Tailwind config. So maybe Tailwind can't find our templates. So let's add the path here. So our app's name is products. That's the directory. Oh, add quotation mark templates and then the globbing magic stores and then yeah, store.html. Okay. So now we have updated the paths. I think that should do it. I'm not sure. Maybe we need to restore the watch script, the node script here. I'm not actually sure. Let's refresh and see. Oh, it worked. Okay, so now that we know that Tailwind is working, and because of this, we're going to have a much easier time styling our pages. Let's go ahead and create Superuser so we get access to our admin page so we can actually add data to our models. Alrighty, so py manage.py create Superuser. We'll leave blank to use Pico as the Superuser. And we don't need to add an email address, so I'll just hit enter. Password, I'll just have it be one letter. Type it again, yep. And then I'll hit Y because I want to bypass password validation and create user anyways. All right, our super user was created successfully. So let's run server again. All right, let's follow link and let's go to /admin, add our username and password and login. Alrighty, so we're logged into admin, but right now we don't see any of our models because we haven't registered them in admin.py yet. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go to admin.py and register our models. So the first thing we want to do is import our models. So from models, import category and product. All right, I'm thinking that we should define class category admin so that we can customize our admin a bit. And it will inherit from Django's admin.model admin. Okay, one thing we want to customize is the list display. Okay, let's actually open models.py to the right. And we probably want to see the name of our product and the slug in the list display. And maybe we could have the slug be pre-populated for us based on the name. So let's just add pre-populated field and set it to slug name like so. Now let's actually register our category admin model. We can use Django's admin.register decorator. Just add category like so. Okay, I think that should work. Let's go back to our browser and refresh. Yay, there it is. All right, so let's see what happens if you try to add a category. Okay, we have the name and the slug. Let's have the name of the category be shirts, for example. See, the slug already got populated. Okay, let's save it. Actually, let's also add another category. Let's make it pants and then maybe another one. Let's make it jackets. All right. So now we've added 3 categories. Okay, so how about we now define class product admin. So it's going to be similar to our class category admin. So I'm just going to copy the definition and I'm going to paste it, and I'm just going to change category to product. I'm also going to copy the decorator and paste it here. And instead of category, it will be product. Okay, and just like we've done with the category admin class, let's also add a list display, specify what we want to see in the list view. How about for our product admin model, we have the name and maybe the price and whether it is available or not. Maybe when it was created, when it was updated, and also which category it falls under, so category. Alrighty, and just like we've done with our category admin model, let's add pre-populated fields, and it'll be exactly the same. So I'm copying it and pasting it. All right, so now let's go back to our browser, go to our admin site, and let's refresh. Yay, our products show up, which is great. Let's click on our products. Let's try to add a product. Okay, let's choose a category. Maybe we could choose shirts. Maybe we could call the shirt super shirt. Oh, the slug gets populated. And maybe you could add a description. Say, a very nice shirt. And the price, let's make it $12. Or, I don't know. All right, let's try to choose file. Got some demo pics. Yes, we can add this and save it. All right, I guess it got saved. Let's go back to our project. And yeah, here we have media files and our image picture. Yay! And it is in a products directory, just like we have specified in our models.py. Cool. All right, so how about our next step being completing our templates? So I was thinking that we could add a navbar here. And over here, we could have the logo of our site. Maybe you could decide on a name also. And over here, we could have like the cart. And over here, we could have a list of the categories. And then here we could display our shop items in a grid, right? That could be cool. And I'm thinking that it's probably going to be very easy to achieve with Tailwind. So let's go ahead and try to do it. So since we are gonna need to create a navbar, perhaps it would be a good idea to go to our templates directory on the project level and add a new folder and call it includes. And then inside it, we could have a nav.html file. All right, and since we're gonna probably want it in all of our templates, let's add it to our base.html file. So let's just add the tag include here, and we want to include includes / nav.html. All right, now let's add some styling to our includes file. So we're going to just use HTML tags as usual and just add some Tailwind classes. Tailwind classes are actually very intuitive, and usually I just open the Tailwind website and look for the class I want, or I just Google it. But right now there are some classes that I'm familiar with, and I'm just gonna type them to not waste your time by looking them up. So let's add the class container and Amex Auto. Okay, let's add padding 4 and flags. Justify between and items center. Okay, and let's add the closing tag to our navbar. Okay, now let's add a link element and set href to the root of our website. Maybe we can add some classes to it. It makes the text big, so let's set it to 2XL. Make the font bold maybe, and give the text a bluish color. So you can have it be indigo 600. And maybe here we could have the site say com, I guess. Whatever, right? Okay, maybe now we can refresh and see if anything happens. Yay, here it is. And it is above our my site element. Let's check out the base for a second. Oh, I have added the include tag under the block content, which is a blunder or an inaccuracy. Okay, let's refresh. Yep. Good. I was thinking that we wanna also add the cart. Of course, we haven't coded the cart logic yet, or the cart model, or anything related to the cart at all, but we will be making it. Let's add an A element for now, and we can set href to hash for now, and then later we're gonna add the correct route. Okay, let's give it some classes later also. I was thinking that maybe we want our cart to look like a cart. So maybe we could find cart SVG. All right, maybe we can find one here. All right, I'm going to copy this code from CodePen. It's SVG code. And then I'll try to change the color. Maybe you can find a better one later. But either way, thank you, Sean Zimmerman, for the cart. Okay, I'm just gonna paste it. Go back to the site and refresh. Yay! Here is the cart. But I intended to have it be on the side. I thought that the classes that we have added here in the nav should do that for us. I probably made a typo. Let's look for the typo. Okay, I guess here should be a dash, not space. Can't believe I just added a space. Okay, yay, it worked. Nice. All right, I feel like our cart would look better if it were smaller. So let's resize it. Let's just add a class, maybe add W8, which W stands for width. Let's just refresh. Yay, it's smaller. Okie dokie. Nice. Alrighty, so now I vote that we go back to base.html and kind of fix this alignment issue. Like, I'm not a big fan of how elements just naturally fall in our body element, I feel like we should put some rules and organize our base.html a bit, right? Like not too much, just a bit, okay? So perhaps we could divide our body element into a header that should be where our nav is, right? And then main element, that's where our block content is. And then a footer element in case we want to add a footer. Maybe we will. We'll see. Alrighty. So in our header we have the navbar element. In the main block we have the main body. Let's add some classes to the main element here. Let's maybe add the class container. Refresh, see if anything happened. And Amex auto. And then pi8. And then flex grow. Alrighty, that's cool. That's very, very cool. Okay, so the container class just applies a max width based on the current screen size. And the MX Auto just centers the container within the parent element. PY here stands for padding Y. And flex grow is just the equivalent of CSS's flex grow 1. Alrighty. What do you guys say we add shadow to our header element? I think it would make it look cool, like more striking maybe. All right, so let's add class shadow MD. I think MD stands for medium. Let's refresh. Cool. No? Yeah, I think it looks kind of cool. Maybe you could also add some classes to our body element. Like perhaps we could change the background color, like make it slightly more gray so that the contrast is not very, very high. All right, so let's try background gray 100. Okay, let's refresh. Did I see a difference? Oh no, what did I do? Okay, let's remove it. Yes, I saw the difference. You see, without it, it's a little bit too bright. Maybe it's a slight difference. Anyways, let's also make the text grayish. So maybe you can make not. So maybe you can make the text gray 800. Yeah, I feel this is better. All right, you know what? Let's add a footer. Why not? All right, so a lot of the time, footers have some kind of notice. So let's just add some demo text. Let's just add the year 2024. And let's just add, for example, the name of our supposed company. Let's call it Ecom Inc. And maybe we could add all rights reserved, right? Yeah, something like this. Okay, we want it to be at the center. Let's create a div and wrap our paragraph element in it. And then add classes there. Okay, so class container, and then margin X auto. Let's refresh. Yep. And then maybe padding 4 and text center because we want our text to be centered. Yep. All right, let's have it be at the bottom. So to do this, we could go back to our body element and we could add flex and maybe flex column like this and min height screen. Okay, I think when we refresh, our footer should show up at the bottom. Ready? Ready? Let's see. Yay, it worked. You did it, guys. Good job. All right, I think it's time that we go back to our list.html and start actually coding the part where we list our actual products. Okay, so let's remove this h1 element. Okay, now we have an empty canvas. so to speak. Okay, let's add div element and let's make the class container, add margin x auto and P for unflex. Okie dokie. All right, now let's add an aside element, which is gonna hold our categories. So maybe we could give it a title by adding an H to an element. So, and maybe you could have it say categories. Let's refresh. Okay, maybe we could make it bold. So let's add class font bold and refresh again. Yes, it's good. Alrighty, and now we want to list the category items here. So maybe you can add in an unordered list. And what we're gonna do now is try to get a hold of the category items that we've added through Admin.py and just list all of them here and have it so that when a user clicks on a category, they only see the items belonging to that category. So try to loop through the categories. So for category in categories. Okay, let's add an end for here. Okay, right, and now let's add list elements. And inside it, let's add anchor elements where we want to show our category names. So category dot name. Yes. Yay, it worked. Cool, super duper cool. Alrighty, so you guys remember how in views.py we made our product list view able to sort by category, right? And then in urls.py, we created a path for product list by category. Okay, now let's make it so that when someone clicks on a product, they get to see the products belonging to this category. So let's go back to our list template, or let's open it to the side. Okay, now let's set href. Let's add the quotation marks and then the curly brackets and then the percentage signs and then write URL. And then we want more quotations. And inside the quotation, we want to write the name of our path. So let's just write that. I'll write the name of my app first, which is products. And then let's copy the name and paste it. And finally, we want to also pass in category.slug. Okay, I think this is correct. Let's refresh and see if it works. Okay, I'm gonna click on shirts. Yay, check it out. Look, the URL change and it added shirts. Of course, we don't see any shirts because we have not added them to our template yet. Okay, but that's a good sign. We're on the right track, guys. Alrighty, now let's close these tabs and how about we start creating the main content for our products. Alrighty, so one of the things I really love about Tailwind is how easy it is to manage the layout of your page. I'm going to use percentage widths here in order to keep the aside on the side and have it take a percentage of the screen. I want it to take 1/4 of the screen. So I'll set it to have class width 1/4. And now, since I want the main part of the page that's going to have our products to occupy the rest of the screen, so I'm going to create it and give it the class width 3/4. All right, if we refresh now, I think we will see nothing different. Anyhow, Let's start. Anyhow, let's add an if statement to check if category. Because if a category is specified, then we want to show the products that fall under this category. Let's add and if. Okay, so if category, we want to, of course, show the products in this category, but also we could also show the name of the category showing. So let's add an h2 element and let's set it to category.name. Okay, let's refresh. Yep, it shows, which is really cool. Okay, let's add some styling because where it shows is really awkward and weird. Maybe over here we could add some padding. So let's add P for padding 4 in the main. All right, that's kind of cool. Let's also add padding to the aside element as well. Okay, better. All right, and the h2 element itself, let's also give it some classes. Maybe we could make the font bold and maybe give it some margin bottom padding, which we won't see now, but we will see when we actually add the products. All right, so if category, we want to see the category name like we see now. But if no category is set, we would like to see all products, right? So let's add an else here. And I'm going to copy this h2 element, paste it, and instead of category name, let's add all products. Okay, let's redirect to the root and click on ecom, I guess. Yep, it shows all products, which is great. All right, now it's time to create our product grid, right? We would want our products to show up in a grid, perhaps in 3 columns. So let's create a div element and let's give it some Tailwind classes, such as the class grid, which is also incredibly useful. And class grid calls 3 because, like we said, we want 3 columns. And let's make the gap 4. All right. And then let's start a for loop. And we would want to loop through our products. So for product in products, let's add and for each product we want to have a div element, and then we want to display the product's image, right? So let's add an if statement to check if the product has an image in the first place. So if product.image, then we want to add an image element and set the source to product.image.url. Then we can add alt and set it to product.name. Before we hit the refresh button, let's not forget to add and if. All right, now let's cross our fingers and refresh. Yay! Here is the picture of our product. And it already kind of looks great, actually. All right, so since we have added an if statement to check if there is an image, let's add else in case there's no image. And in that case, we could inform our user that an image is not available. Since the image is not available. All right. Now, let's also add the product name and the product price and the product description and all of that underneath the image. Let's maybe add an h3 element. That'll be the product dot name. Okay, let's refresh. Yay, that's the product dot name. It shows. Okay, and under it, let's add a paragraph element, and that'll be our product Oops, I forgot to add the curly thingies. So that would be our product.description. Let's refresh. Yay. All right. And now a very important thing that people care about when shopping is the price. So let's add a $sign and then product.price. And let's refresh again. Cool. Very cool. Alrighty. Now how about we add some styling? Maybe for the h3 element, we could make it a little bit bolder. Maybe we can make a font semi-bold, right? So font semi-bold. Let's refresh. Yep. And the price, I don't know, maybe we could change the color. Like make it indigo, like our logo. So maybe text indigo 600. Yeah, maybe that's cool, right? Okay, and how about we make it so that if someone clicks on the shirt, they get redirected to the detail view. Alrighty, so let's add an anchor element around our product div. If we don't like it, we can change it. Let's try to make it work first. All right, now let's add href and let's set it to product detail. Actually, let's revisit our urls.py just to make sure we named it product detail. Yep, we did. Okay, so now that we know, actually, let's just open urls.py to the side. Okay. So yeah, so let's add the curly bracket thingies and then the percentage signs, and inside we want to add URL like so, and then our path name. Okay, so first let's write our app's name, which is products, and then the name of our path, which is product detail, right? And what things do we need to pass in? Yeah, we need ID and slug, right? So product.id and then product.slug. Okay, I think that should do it. Alrighty, now let's check if it works. Let's refresh and let's click on our product. Yay, we got redirected to the detail view of our super shirt. Check out our URL. Very cool. Alrighty, so now how about we go to our detail template and let's actually start writing it to show our shirt and the details, and also most importantly to allow our users to add to cart. All right, so let's close this. First thing we want to do, actually I'm going to open list.html to the right because I want to copy some of the code we've already written here and paste it. I'll add this div element here. And let's close it. Okay, I don't think we need this h1 element. Okay, let's add the closing tag for our div. Okay, and inside it, let's create another div. And this div is going to hold our product details in our image. So maybe the first thing we want to do is check if there is a product image. And if there is an image, then we basically just want to show it. I'm going to copy the line where we add the image element from our list.html because it's pretty similar. Okay, I'll just paste it. Yeah, I think we don't need to change anything about it. Let's add and if, and let's refresh. Yep, here's our image. All right, now just like we've done for our list.html, let's add an else statement if the image is not available and have it say, oh, no image available or whatever. All right, so I just copied it and pasted it. Alrighty, so next up, let's just add the product details. So once again, I'm just going to copy from the list.html and just paste and just refresh. Yep, here are our details. I think it actually looks pretty good already. Let's try to maximize our window and see what happens. Oh, the image is huge. That could be an advantage in a way, but I feel like as a quick fix, we could just set max height. Let's just add max height and maybe let's set it to 80 view height. Okay, let's bring it back. Refresh. Yeah, maybe that looks better. Of course, like we could center it and improve it a bit more. However, let's go ahead and add a button here so our users can add the item to cart, right? Of course, we still didn't code the logic for the cart. I'm thinking that our cart is gonna actually be another app. We'll make an app for it. But for now, let's add a form element and add a button. Then we'll come back and make it do something later. For now, let's just add it and maybe let's have it say add to cart. All right, now let's refresh. Oh, here's our button. Obviously, it needs some styling. Okay, so maybe we could give it some classes to style it up a bit. Okay, so for starters, I think giving it a color like indigo to match our logo could be nice. So indigo, actually it's BG, background, indigo 600. And maybe we can make the text white. Okay, let's refresh. Yeah, that worked. Okay, let's add padding. Maybe we could add padding X4 and padding Y2. And maybe you can make the edges rounded. I think that could look good. Oh yeah, that looks really good actually. Alright, so now how about we create the cart app so that we can start using it. Alright, so let's stop the server and let's type in Django's start app command. So py manage.py start app, and let's call the app cart. Let's hit enter. Alrighty, cart was created for us. Very cool. Alright, so let's now go to our settings.py file and let's add cart to installed apps. Alrighty. Alright, now let's go to models.py in our cart application and let's start defining our models. Alrighty, so we would want to define two models. The first is the cart model and as usual it will inherit from Django's model class. And the second model we want to define is the cart item model, which will also inherit from Django's models.model class. Alrighty, so now let's go ahead and create a many-to-one relationship between our cart items and our cart model, because we want to make it so that every cart would be able to have many cart items, right? So in our cart item model, let's add the field cart. And we want to set the field cart to models.foreign-key so that we establish the many-to-one relationship. Here we specify the model we want the relationship to be with. Then we can add the related name. We can make it items. And then we can add on delete. We can set it to models.cascade. So this means that when a cart is deleted, the cart items would also be deleted. Okay, so our cart items are going to be products. So let's quickly import the product model. So from products.models, import product. All right, and now let's add the field product. And over here, we want to establish a foreign key relationship between our cart item model and our product model, so that each cart item is associated with a single product. So let's set it to models.foreign key, and the target model here is the product model. So let's put it, and let's add the related name. Let's set it to cart items, and let's add on delete models.cascade. So if a product is deleted, the cart item would also be deleted too. All right, now if a user adds a product more than once, we would like the quantity of that product to increase, right? So let's add the field quantity and set it to models.positive integer field, and let's set the default to 1. All right, so now it would be a good idea to define a method to calculate the total price of a product in case there is more than one in the cart. Right, so get total price, and I'll pass in self here, and we want to return the product price times the quantity. Okay, now that we've defined our cart item class, let's continue defining our cart class. Let's add created at field so we can track when our cart was created. So let's set it to datetime field, and let's add auto now add and set it to true. Okay, now the next thing I would like to define is a method to get the total price of the items in the cart. So just like we've done for our cart item model, let's define the get total item price method, and we want it to return the sum of items dot get total price for item in self dot items dot all. All right, now let's open terminal and make migrations. So py manage.py make migrations. Right, let's hit enter. Okay, now let's migrate. So py manage.py migrate. Alrighty, I think now we could start defining our views. So let's go to views.py. Okay, so I'm thinking that we can start with defining cart add view, and as views do, it takes request as a param. And since we want to be adding products to our cart, so we should also pass in product ID. Since we are gonna be working with products, it's probably a good idea to import our product model. So from products.models, let's import product. Okay, and we are obviously going to need to work with the cart model as well. So let's import it to import cart, and for sure we are gonna need the cart item model. For extra security, we can add the require post decorator, which will make it so that this view only accepts post requests. In order to use it, we should import it. So from Django.views.decorators, let's import require post. Now, one of the things I absolutely love about Django is the fact that when you just create your Django app, the super powerful session middleware is created for you, and you could just start working with the session attributes through session.request. The session attribute that we can access through session.request is a dictionary-like object that you can read and write as many times as you want. Okay, so let's start with trying to get the cart ID. So to do that, we can create variable cart ID and set it to request.session.get. And what we're looking for is cart ID. Okay, now let's add an if statement in case we find the cart ID. So if there is a cart ID, we want to try to get the cart associated with that ID. So cart.objects.get, and what we want is the cart with the ID, cart ID, the one that was saved in our session. Now, let's add the except block. So cart does not exist. Then we want to create it. So cart.objects.create. Okay. Now, if there is no cart ID, then we also want to create a cart. So I'm just gonna copy this line and paste it here and fix the spacing. All right. And then we want to save the cart ID in the session. So request.session cart ID, and that would add cart ID to our dictionary-like object that we can access with request.session at any time from our views. All right, now we want to get hold of the product we want to add to the cart. So let's create the variable product and set it to get object or 404. In order to use it, we should import it. So let's do that. Okay, now let's use it. Okay, so we want to get it from the product model, and we want to set the ID to product ID, which of course we are gonna be passing. Alrighty, so now we want to add the cart item to the cart. Okay, so if the cart item is already in the cart because the user clicked on add to cart already, then we want to increment the quantity. We want to add 1 to the quantity associated with it. If not, then we want to create the cart item, right? Okay, so let's add cart item, comma, create it. Okay, and then let's set that to cart item dot objects dot get or create cart equals cart and product equals product. All right, so if the cart item already exists, then we wouldn't be creating it, we would get it. So created would be set to false. Okay, so if not created, which means the cart item already exists, then we want to add 1 to the quantity, right? So cart item dot quantity plus or equal 1. Then let's save this. So cart item dot save. All right, so for this view, we want to dynamically update the cart information without requiring a page reload. Okay, so let's create a dictionary and call it response data. And let's add to it success and set it to true. And we could also add a message, and let's set it to added product dot name to cart. Okay, and then finally we want to return JSON response. So return JSON response. Oh, I need to import it in order for it to work. Okay, we'll pass in our response data, but we need to import it. So from Django.http import JSON response. All right, and now of course we want to be able to see our cart. So let's define a view for that. Maybe you could call it cart detail, and it will take request as a param. Okay, and just like we've done with our cart add view, we want to get a hold of the cart ID. So I'm just gonna copy this line and paste it. Alrighty, so this line attempts to get the cart ID from the session. So now let's add an if statement in case we find a cart ID. So if cart ID, then we want to get a hold of our cart so we can see it. So let's set cart to get object or 404, and we want to get it from the cart model, and the ID is cart ID. All right, and also we could set cart to none by default. So that would make it that by default cart is none. However, if there is a cart ID present in session, then the cart would be set to the cart we get. Okay, now let's return render request. And of course, for this, we will need to create a template. And I'm thinking that the template would be in a directory called cart, and we could call it detail. So that's the path for it. And let's pass context. The only context we need here is the cart. It'll be cart. Yeah, that should do it. Alrighty, now how about we start creating the templates? So in our cart app, let's create a new folder, and we're gonna call it templates. And inside it, let's create a directory and call it cart. And inside it, we're going to create the file detail.html. Alrighty, now before we write the code for detail.html, let's go ahead and create urls.py to map URL patterns to our views. Alright, so let's begin by importing path. So from Django.urls import path, and we also want to import our views. I'm just going to open our views.py to the side. So from views, let's import cart add and cart detail. All right, now let's create our URL patterns list. Okay, let's begin with the cart add. So make the URL path add, and then we want to pass in our product ID. So, and product ID. Okay, and now let's add the view's name here. Okay, and then let's give this path a name. It'll be cart add. All right. Okay. Now the detail, the cart detail. Let's just keep it at the root. And now let's add the view, which would be cart detail. And let's set the name to cart detail. Alrighty, and now we need to include the cart URLs in our project's url.py. So let's go to the directory with the urls.py for our project. And we want to include our cart URL, just like we've done for products URLs. So, all right, so let's just add a comma here and add path cart slash, and we want to include cart URLs. All right, I think that should do it. Also, I think this comma here is not needed, so I'm gonna delete it. Alrighty, now before we do anything else, let's bring back terminal and try to run server. So py manage.py run server. Oh, there's an error. Alrighty, so it seems that the error is in our views.py, and it seems like it's the import statement from Django.views.decorators import require post. Okay, I feel like I forgot something. Yes, it should be .decorators.http, I think. Right, that fixed it. Alrighty, so now let's follow link and check on our website. Okay, I think it looks good so far. So of course our cart doesn't do anything right now. Hopefully it will be working pretty soon. So let's go back to our templates, cart detail.html, and let's start adding some code to our template. So the first thing we probably want to do is extend our base. So I'm going to open our product detail to the side so that I can copy some lines of code from it. So you want to also extend the base.html. So I'm just gonna copy and paste. And here also the block title. Here we could make a cart or my cart, for example. And then block content. Alrighty, now let's add an h2 element for now and have it say my cart. Alright, and before we do anything else, how about we go to nav.html, and this is where we have our cart SVG, right? So let's anchor it to the cart page, the cart detail. Let's add the curly brackets, the percentage signs, and URL. The app name is cart and cart detail. All right. Okay. So, all right. So let's go back to our website and refresh. Okay. So it says cart is not a registered namespace. All right. Let's go back to our urls.py in the cart app, and maybe we can try to add the app name and see if that fixes it. So app name, let's set it to cart. All right, let's refresh. Oh, maybe. So it seems that we got a 404 page not found. So Django tried the product list. So you know what, let's go to our project directory and investigate our urls.py there. This one, yes. Okay, so over here, we have products.urls before cart.urls. Django usually checks the path, the URL patterns, in the order that they are defined. So it checks the products.urls before the cart.urls. So maybe Django matched our cart pattern to a path that we've defined in the product URLs. Actually, let's go to the urls.py in our products directory. Yes. So over here, we kind of have a catch-all URL. So maybe Django mistook the cart as this, like a variable being passed. So I think if we just rearrange our URLs, put the cart before the product URLs, then that should fix our problem. Okay, let's refresh. Yes, it worked. Alrighty, so now we have our home page. We have our product detail page that has a button that says add to cart. However, this button does literally nothing. So how about we make it do something? Alright, so let's go to detail.html where our button is. And we want to define the action for our form and set it to URL cart add. You want to pass the product ID. And we want to set the method to post. Okay, and while we're at it, let's give our form an ID. Let's make it add to cart form. Alrighty, and for security purposes, let's add CSRF token, and let's give our button type submit. All right, and we would probably want to tell our users if they were successful in adding the item to the cart. So let's create a paragraph element and give it the ID message, and we will populate it with the success message when the item is added. So now when this form is submitted, our products will be added to cart. However, we do not want to get redirected from the page once this happens. We don't want a page reload. So let's add some JavaScript to intercept the form submission and send the request to the server behind the scenes. Alrighty, so basically we'll be just applying Ajax. Anyways, let's add the script tags. If you want, you could also create a JavaScript file and add the JavaScript code, whatever you prefer. Okay, so let's begin with getting a hold of our cart form. We've already given it an ID, right? So we can use document.getElement by ID, and I'm just going to copy the ID of the form and just paste it. Also, maybe we could close this so we can see better. All right, and then we want to add an event listener to listen on submit, because on submit, we would like to prevent the form from submitting the traditional way. So let's define function and pass an event and just prevent default. Okay, now let's define const form and set it to event dot target and const URL and set it to form dot action and const form data. Let's set it to new form data and we want to pass in form. Okay, next we want to fetch URL with a method post and we want to pass in the headers x dash CSRF token form data dot get CSRF middleware token. All right, and then body should be the form data. Okay, then response, you want it to be response.json, and data, let's define const message element, and it is this paragraph element that we've defined. So let's get a hold of it with document.get element by ID message, and if data dot success, then we want to set message element text content to the data dot message, else we want to say that adding to cart wasn't successful, so maybe we could set it to failed to add to cart. Right, then we could add a catch error block. So catch error console dot error we want to show the error so we can debug it. All right, so now we can check on our website. Let's refresh, and we want to see if what we've just done works. So what we're looking for is a message that would show up under the add to cart button. I hope it shows up. All right, let's click on it. Yay, here's the message. Remember, we wrote this message in the response data in our views.py. It shows, cool. Okay, and now if we click on the cart, we will see nothing other than my cart because we haven't yet added any logic to the cart's detail.html. All right, so let's start doing it. Okay, so first let's add an if statement to check if cart. So if cart, and where there is an if in a Django template, there should be an end if. So let's add it. Okay, now if there's a cart, then we would like to list the items in the cart. Alrighty, so since we've already added a t-shirt to the cart, then we should be able to see the t-shirt, right? Once we list the items in the cart. So let's create an unordered list, and then we want to loop through the cart items. So for item in cart dot items dot all, when there is a for loop, there should also be an end for. So let's add the end for. Okay, and then within our for loop, we want to add our items within list elements. So let's do that. Okay, so let's try adding it like this. Item dot product dot name. Actually, let's refresh before doing anything else. Oh, super cool. All right, so I think, of course, we should try to make it look better, but I would like to see if we can get a hold of the image, get it to show also. Maybe before the product name, we could add an if statement. So if item dot product image, let's also add the end if so we don't forget it. Then we want to show the image. So let's add the image element, image source, and item dot product dot image dot URL, and we can set the alt to item dot product dot name. Okay, let's refresh. Yay, the image shows. All right, I'm thinking that we should probably use Tailwind to add some styling and make the image less massive, right? Actually, we haven't told Tailwind about the templates in our cart app. So let's go to Tailwind.config.js and let's just add the path to our cart templates. I'm just gonna copy the line where we wrote the path for the templates in our products app, and I'm going to change product to cart since it's essentially the same thing. All right, and I think that should do it. Okay, so let's go back to detail.html and let's try to add class, for example, width 24 to our image. All right, and let's refresh. Oh, it got smaller. Nice. Okay, of course, we have a long way to go to make our cart look better, or hopefully not that long. I mean, Tailwind makes everything easier. Alrighty, so perhaps we could add some classes to the h2 element. So, for example, class text to Excel, and then maybe you could make it semi-bold, and we can give it margin bottom 4, perhaps better. Okay, now for our cart items, maybe you could add some spacing. So let's give it class space y4. Okay, so space y4 is basically space between. So right now it does nothing, but maybe in a bit it would have an effect. All right, so here let's add class flex items center and then add padding 4. Let's refresh. Okay. All right, I'm thinking that perhaps for the product name, we could wrap it in a div element along with the other product details. So let's create a div element and let's give it the class flex grow, and let's put the product name in an h3 element. then maybe we could here add also the product description in a paragraph element. So item dot product dot description. Nice. Okay, and then let's also get a hold of the price and then the quantity. Maybe we could also write quantity. All right, let's refresh. Well, the quantity doesn't show. Let's go back to our models.py. Oh, actually, let's fix this. It's unrelated to quantity, but it's an error here. I'm just gonna delete the S because it's a mistake. And we have defined quantity for the cart item model, and we've set the default to 1. I think it should be item.quantity, not item.product.quantity. So it had nothing to do with the model. Let's refresh. Yes. Okay. Had a brain error there. All right. Yeah. Okay. We have the details. All right. And we haven't yet created the view for removing an item from cart, but we will be creating it. So how about we add a remove button? We can put it in a div also. And how about we just add the classes as we're adding it to save time? I'll add flex shrink to the div. And let's create form with an action that we're gonna leave empty for now because we haven't yet defined the view and we haven't set up our URL mapping, so leave the action empty. And the method is probably gonna be post. Add it, I guess. All right. Okay, and over here we want to add CSRF token and button with the type submit. Alrighty, and instead of writing the delete, I'm just gonna add X. And let's refresh. Yep, here's our button. Okay, let's add some classes to style it a bit. Maybe we could make it red. So background red 600. All right, it worked. And maybe we could have the text be white and give it some padding. So padding X maybe 4. Padding Y 2. All right, let's refresh. Okay, better. And maybe we can make the edges rounded. Okay, not bad at all. Alrighty, let's add some styling to our product information. Okay, so for the product name, maybe we could make the font semi-bold and the text large. All right, and maybe we could make the price indigo to match our logo. So let's add class text indigo. Let's say 600. Let's refresh. Yeah, cool, it worked. Oh, maybe you could also add a $sign. Yep, better. Okay, and for the quantity, maybe you could also change the color, make it gray. Let's make it class text gray 600. Let's refresh. Yeah, it got a bit lighter. You know what? Let's also make this part, the description, also grayish. Maybe I'll copy this, paste it, and I'll change 600 to 700 so it would be a bit darker. It's hard to refresh. Yeah, I think that worked. I think this looks okay-ish, right? It's not perfect. Alrighty, I feel like maybe users would appreciate being able to click on the item and go back to the item detail page, right? So maybe around where we have the product name, we can add an anchor element. So actually, let's check on the urls.py in our products app. And for the product detail, the path is product/int/slug. I think it needs the product ID. Let's check on views.py. Yes, ID and slug. Let's look at models.py also. Yes. All right, so let's open the urls.py to the side, just because I want to look at it while doing this. So href, we want to set it to curly brackets, then the percentage signs, and then URL, and then quotations. Okay, so the app's name is products, and the name we gave for our path is product detail. And then we want to pass in the product ID, so item.product.id, and the product slug, so item.product.slug. I think this should do it. All right, let's refresh. Okay, I don't see an error. That's a good sign. Let's click. Oh, cool. It worked. Good job, guys. Alrighty, now that we're here on the product detail view, let's try to click add to cart again and see if the quantity changes in our cart. I hope it does. Oh, yay, it did. Now we have 2 items. Very nice. Super cool. Alright, so I feel like the next obvious step is to get our delete button to work. However, I feel like before we do that, I'd like to add 2 more classes super quickly just to improve the appearance of our cart. I know we're not trying to make it look amazing, but let's add some margin right to the picture. Yes, that looks better. And maybe this button is just taking so much space, right? It has a big visual weight. So how about we make padding Y 1 instead of 2? And maybe let's make the text extra small. Yes, I feel like it looks better. Maybe. Of course, if this was like a website I had to make for a client, I would spend so much more time on the front end and probably like design it on Figma beforehand, you know. But this example is just to show you how easy it is to use Tailwind and how to just get going, starting on an e-commerce site. Alrighty, so let's go to our views.py. And let's define a view that would allow us to remove items from cart, to delete them. So let's call it remove. Actually, let's call it cart remove. And it will take request and the product ID. Alright, so the first step is getting a hold of the cart ID, and we are going to get it from the session. I'm going to copy this line from cart detail because it's the same exact line. We just get the cart ID from the session. Next, we want to use the cart ID to get the cart. So let's set cart to get object or 44, and the object we want is from the cart table or model, and the ID we want to use to get it is the cart ID, not cart if. Okay, next we want to get the item we want to delete. So again, we'll use get object or 44, and we want to get it from the cart item model or table, and the ID we want to use to get it is the product ID we passed in. And cart is cart. Okay, finally, we want to delete the item. So item delete. Okay, and at the end, we want to redirect back to our cart detail. So we wanna redirect. Oh, I think we need to import redirect to use it. I'll import it in a second. So cart underscore detail. All right, let's import redirect. So it's from Django shortcuts, I think. Yes. Okay, cool. Alrighty, now we can go to urls.py and actually let's open views.py to the side. Okay, cool. Let's import the cart remove view because we're gonna need it. Okay, and let's add path. Let's make it remove. And then we want to pass in the product ID, which is going to be an integer. So int product ID, and the view is cart remove. Let's give it a name. Let's make it remove. Alrighty, and now let's put it to the side here and go back to detail.html so that we can fill in this part, the forms action that we left empty earlier. Okay, so let's add the famous curly brackets, the percentage signs, URL, and quotation marks, the name of our app, cart, and then the name we gave the path, so remove item. All right, and we want to pass in the variable product ID. To do that, I think it's just item.id. Okay, I think that should work. All right, now let's look at our page. Let's refreshing causes no errors. That's a good sign. Okay, I'll hard refresh and then click the button. I hope that the item gets deleted. Let's see. Oh, cool. The item is deleted. Okay, so I think that since there are no items in the cart, it would be better if we could tell our user that the cart is empty. So here we have if cart. Maybe you could add an else statement here. And maybe you could say your cart is empty. All right, if we refresh now, I think nothing will show because there is a cart. It's just empty. It doesn't have items to show. So we could go back to our views.py, and for our cart detail, we could add an if statement. So you can say if not cart or not cart dot items exists, then let's set cart to none. All right, let's hard refresh. Control F5. Oh, it says your cart is empty. Very cool. So next up, we want to probably allow our users to see the total price they have to pay, right? The total price of the items they have in their cart, and we want to get them to make an order, right? So we will get to that in a second, but I feel like our shop having one shirt is not great. So how about we go back to admin and we add more items. Okay, so we created a bunch of categories earlier. We have jackets, pants, and shirts, right? Alrighty, so how about we add more jackets? I'm just going to click on add next to products here. And I'll pick the category jackets. And I saved some images of demo products. So maybe you could call this jacket leather. Jacket. Because it is a leather jacket. And we can write echo leather light jacket, for example, in the description, and maybe you can make the price, let's say 94, and it's available. Let's choose a file. Let's choose this one. Okay, Let's save and add another. Okay, another jacket. And maybe we could say light jacket, right? Good for cool summer nights. The price, maybe let's say 81. It's available. Let's choose this one. Okay, save and add another jacket. Let's say cool jacket. I don't know. Description for cool folks. Price 105. The price of being cool. Right, choose file. Alright, save and add another. Maybe this time we could add a shirt, because there's a shirt I saved that I haven't added. It's a black shirt, so maybe you can call it black shirt. Description, a nice black shirt. Price, $15. Okay. Let's save. Okay, so here are the products we have added. Alrighty, now let's go to our home page and see how it looks like. Oh, wow. There they are. Okay, so the images are all over the place. The image sizes are all over the place. But other than that, we have all the products we've added. Let's go to shirts category. Yep, those are our shirts. Pants is empty, so we haven't added any pants. Jackets shows only the jackets. Cool. Alrighty, a part of me wants to see if I could have some harmony by resizing the images and getting them to be the same size. So let's close these and let's go to the templates in our products, the list template. All right, so what I'm gonna try to do is I'm going to use the object cover class from Tailwind, which resizes the element's content to cover its container. So I'm just going to give the image element a height and width, like specify it, and then add object cover. I think this could work. It seems like most of the images are rectangular, so maybe adding rectangular dimensions would be best. So let's add class and let's set height to, let's say, 64. Okay, I'm just doing things roughly. So height 64 and width maybe 44. And like we said, we want to add object cover. So now let's refresh. Actually, that looks pretty good. Nice. Alrighty, so we wanted to see what happens if we add different items to cart. So right now our cart is empty. Let's add this jacket to the cart. It said it was added to cart. Let's see if it's true. Oh, it was added. Nice. All right, now let's add a shirt. Let's add this weird black shirt. Let's add it to cart. Let's go see. Yay, it was added. Super cool. All right, let's hit it again and add it to cart again. Let's go to cart. Oh, it says quantity is 2. Very cool. All right, let's delete the jacket because we changed our mind. And maybe let's choose this jacket because it's a cool jacket. Let's add it to cart and let's look at it. Oh, but it's too expensive. Let's delete it again. Cool. Everything works. All right. So we probably want also to inform our users of the price of the items they're buying, right? People love total prices, or they need it, right? They want to know how much they're going to pay, right? Okay, so let's go back to our cart detail view. Where are you? Cart detail. Yes, there it is. Okie dokie. So in order to show our total price, let's add a paragraph element and let's make it strong for emphasis. And let's have it say total price. And getting the total price is going to be super duper easy because we've already defined the get total price method in our cart model. So I'm just going to copy the name of the method so I can easily paste it. Okay, so I copied it and just write cart and paste and then refresh. And hopefully we'll see the price of the t-shirts. We have 2 of them. Yep, the total price is 30. I think we should add a dollar sign before the total price. Yep, the total price is $30. Cool. All right, now let's add other items to our cart. Let's add the cool jacket because we want to be cool. Let's add it to cart. And oh, the total price is now 135. Cool. The math checks out. All right. I changed my mind about the jacket, so I'll remove it. Oh, the total price updated. It's very cool. I'll check out this jacket instead. And the price is now 111. Alrighty, so we have a website with categories and we can add items to cart, right? We can delete the items from cart. Okay, it's a pretty simple e-commerce site. Obviously, it needs more work, but the thing I think is needed so much right now is the ability to make orders, right? Or to check out. Yeah, so like once we're happy with what we want to buy, we could probably just proceed to checkout so we can add our information and everything that's needed and so on so that the shop can see our order and send it to us. So for this, we would obviously need to do more stuff. We're going to create a new app for the orders to keep our project organized. But since we are on the detail.html, let's add the form element that's going to hold our checkout button. So you want to add a button. And maybe you could have it say proceed to checkout or something. Okay, let's, oops, what did I do? Oh, there it is. Okay, I think we should style it for sure. What I'm thinking of doing, because I'm feeling a bit lazy, is just going to the detail.html and products and copying the classes we've added to the button there. Because I think it looked good and it matches the color of our logo. So I'm just gonna write class and paste them and then refresh. Yeah, I think this looks kind of cool. Gonna try to add margin top to the bottom. Just try margin top 0.5 and I'm gonna hard refresh. Yeah, I think maybe this is better. Not actually sure. At any case, let's start working on our orders app. So let's fire up terminal and I'm going to stop the server and I'm gonna type in the start app command. So py manage py start app, and the app we want to create is orders. Let's hit enter and here's our app. Okay, now we need to go to settings.py and add it to installed apps. So orders. Okie dokie. Right, and now we can go to models.py. Oh, not here in the orders app. Where's the orders app? Yes, here it is. Okay, and start defining our lovely models. Okay, so we're gonna define two models. One model is gonna be the order model, which is gonna represent the customer's entire purchase transaction. So it will hold all the information about the purchase, such as the customer details, like their name and address, and so on. And it will have a relationship with order item, which is gonna be another model, right? That's gonna represent a single product in the order. Anyways, let's start defining them. So let's begin with order, which will inherit from models.model. And like we said, we want to get information about our customer. For example, we want their full name, which is going to be a char field. Maybe you can set the max length, to 250. And we want their email address. Let's set it to models.email field. We want their address. It's also going to be a char field. You can set the max length to also 250. Right, and we could also add city and postal code and all of that. But I guess for this hypothetical website, maybe we don't need all those fields for now. Of course, you can add them for your app. But we can add timestamps, because I feel like timestamps can be very, 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 very important. So we can create the field created at and set it to models.date time field and set auto now add true, and then updated at, and it's gonna be date time field also, and we'll set auto now to true. And of course we're gonna need the total amount that should be paid. So let's define a method and call it get total cost or whatever. And we want this method to return the sum of the items in the order. So how about we get back to it after we define the order item class. All right, so let's define it quickly. Class order item, and it will inherit from Django's model. And the first field we want to define is the order field that's going to represent the foreign key relationship between our order item class and our order class. So let's set it to models.foreign key, and the model we want to have a foreign key relationship or a many-to-one relationship with is the order model. We want to set the related name also. We'll set it to items. And on delete, let's set to models.cascade, which means that if an order is deleted, the order items would go with it. Alrighty, so our order items are going to be products, right? So we will also need another field that's going to represent a foreign key relationship between our order items and our products. So let's import our product model. So from products, which is the name of the app that our product model is in, .models, let's import product. Okie dokie. Now let's set it to models.foreign key product related name let's make it order items. And on delete, models dot cascade also. All right, then we can add a price field. I know that products already have a price defined, but adding a price field here could be a good idea in case you wanna calculate discounts or whatever. So it's good to make it have its own field, so we can apply taxes, calculations, or whatever we want later. Like, it would add flexibility. Okay, let's set max digits to 10 and decimal places to 2. Alrighty, it would be a good idea to also create a field for quantity, for how many items the client is ordering, so that we have a place to store the quantity somewhere independent from the cart. So let's set it to models dot positive integer field and set the default to 1. Okay, and now we can define a method to calculate the total cost, which is basically going to be the price of the order item times the quantity. So let's return exactly that, price times quantity. Alrighty, and now we can calculate the total cost for our order. So let's start writing the return statement. So we have defined the related name between our order item and our order model to be items. So what we're going to do is we're going to loop through the order items and calculate the price. So sum item dot get cost for item in self dot items dot all. All right, that's an extra bracket. Let's remove it. Okay, good. All right, so before we move on to views, let's add one more field, because I feel like it's important to know if a client paid for the order or not. So let's add a field to represent payment, which would be the paid field, for example. And we can set it to models dot boolean field and set default to false. Alrighty, so now we can go ahead and define our views. So let's go, no, not here, not in cart. So let's go to views.py in our orders app, and let's start defining our order create view. Alrighty, so def order create, and we pass in request as usual. Alrighty, so just like we've done for other views in our cart app, for example, I'm going to open the views to the side. We would want to get the cart ID from session, right? So I'm just going to copy this line from cart add and paste it. However, we also want to set the default of cart to none. All right. And then we can add an if statement to check if cart ID. And if there's a cart ID, then we want to set cart to something such as cart.objects.get ID cart ID. So if we have a cart ID, we can get the cart. Well, we gotta import the cart model for this to work. So let's do that. So from cart.models, import cart. Okie dokie. Now we wanna add another if statement to check if there's no cart at all. So if not cart or not cart dot item dot exists, then we want to return redirect to cart detail. Well, we gotta import redirect for this line to do something. So here we're telling Django if the cart is empty or doesn't exist, let's redirect the user to the cart detail page. All right, so we've said earlier while we were defining our models, where are our models? Yes, here, I'm gonna open it to the side, that we would like to get information about the user, right? So in order to do this, let's create a form, and we're going to pass the form through our order create view to the template so our user can fill the information that we need. So in our orders app, let's create a new file, and we're gonna call it forms.py, and that's where we're gonna keep our form. Alrighty, so the first thing we want to do is import forms from Django. So from Django, import forms. And then we want to import our order model. I'm going to open models.py to see it, while working on the form. So from models, import order. Okay. And now let's start defining our form. Okay, so our form is gonna inherit from forms.modelForm. I'm gonna call it order create form because that's a descriptive name. Okay, and it's inheriting from forms.modelForm, like we said. Okay, now let's define class meta. Okay, so the model this form is related to is our order model. Now let's define the fields. Okay, so full name, email, I forgot quotation marks, address. Yep, I think that's all. Alrighty, so now that we have defined the form, let's add an if statement to check if our users want to send the form after filling it. So let's check if request.method is post, and then let's create a form variable, and we want to set it to order create form, which is this one. So let's import it. So from forms, import order create form, and let's set our form to now order create form request dot post. Okay, next we want to check if form is valid, then we want to save it. So order form save, and we want to set commit to false, and order dot save. Okay, I made another typo. I'll fix it in a moment. There we go. Okay, all right, and now we want to loop through the items. So for item in cart dot items dot all. Now order item. Oh, we need to import it. So let's import it. So from models, import order item. Okay, so order item dot objects dot create. Okay, and we want to set order to order, product to item dot product, and price to item dot product dot price, and quantity to item dot quantity. All right, and after we make the order, of course, we want to delete the cart. So cart delete. And then we also want to delete the cart ID from the session. So del request dot session cart ID. And then we want to redirect to the order confirmation page, which we have not yet created, but I'm just gonna write it and we'll create it later. So orders, which is the app name, and order creation, order confirmation, I mean not creation. And we want to pass in order ID. Also, let's add an else statement in case the request is not post. If the request is not post, we want to show our users the form they need to fill, which is the order create form. All right, and we want to return the order create template. So render request order slash order create.html, which we haven't created yet, but we will create. And we want to pass cart as context as well as our form. All right, so two things we still need to create that we have referenced in this view. It's the order confirmation page, which we will need to create a view for and a template and set up the URLs for it as well. We also need to create the order.html file. So let's create a new folder in our orders directory, and that will be our templates folder where we'll keep our templates. And inside it, let's create another folder that we're gonna call orders. And inside it, let's create the order create.html. And we're also gonna need order confirmation.html. So just gonna create it and then we'll start defining the view for it. So order confirmation.html. Okay. All right, now let's go back to our views.py and let's quickly write the view for order confirmation. It's gonna be super simple. Okay, so def order confirmation takes request and the order ID, and let's set order to get object or 44 because we want to access it. Did we not import get object or 44? I guess not. Let's just import it from Django shortcuts. Not list. Get object or 44. Okay, so let's set order to get object or 44. And we want to get the object from the order, and we to get the order with the order ID we'll be passing in. We need to import the order model. So I'll just import it super quickly. Okay, now we can write our return statement, and we want to render the template order confirmation.html. Oops. It is in the orders directory, order underscore confirmation.html. Okay, and context we want to pass is order. Okie dokie, I think this should do it, right? Okay, next, we can start adding some code to our order create template. Okay, first we want to extend base.html. You know what, I'm just gonna open one of the templates we've created to the side to just copy from it. So extend base.html and to get also the block title and make it order confirmation. And then obviously block content. It's this and block. All right, let's create a div element in our block content. And inside it, we'll have a form with the method post. And of course, CSRF token. We want to show our form as P. And we want to add a button with the type submit that says place order. All right, and now let's go to our urls.py because I want to see how this looks before I do anything else. And let's add, no, not in cart, Pico. Let's, sorry guys, I think I'm getting tired. Let's create a urls.py in our orders directory. And you know what? I'm going to open the urls.py from cart to the side because I want to copy some stuff from it. I'm going to copy the import statement for path. I'm going to copy the line where we say what's the app name is. And instead of cart, we'll just write orders because we're defining the URLs for the orders app. And URL patterns. We want to set it to path create, which is the path for creating an order. And the view associated with this is the order create view, right? So let's import it. So from views, import order create. Also want to import order confirmation. Okay, so order create. Let's give it the name order create. And let's also define the path for the confirmation, order confirmation. So let's make it confirmation / int order ID because we want to pass in the order ID, right? And the view associated with this is the order confirmation view. Let's give it the name order confirmation. 1 second. Order confirmation. Awesome. All right. And now let's go to URLs on the app level. Where is it? It's this one, right? Okay. And we want to include our orders URLs. Where should we put it? Maybe we can put it after the cart URLs. Maybe that would be good. Okay, so we want to include orders. Yeah, so let's make the path orders and include orders.urls. And let's not forget the comma, not here, here. Alrighty, so now that we have supposedly set up the URLs, let's try restarting server just to see if we will find any errors. So py-manage.py run server. Uh-oh, there's an error. Okay, so the error says something about URL patterns, something, circular import, orders URLs. Let's go to ordered URLs. I bet I made some typo. Yep, I did. This is not how you spell patterns. Okay, now it should be fixed. And it was, yay. Alrighty, so now if we visit our websites and refresh, good, we don't see an error. However, if we try to click proceed to checkout, nothing will happen because in our detail.html, in our card detail.html, we haven't added the logic that would make anything happen. So we just added the form without a method and the button that says proceed to checkout. So let's take care of this now. So let's go to the form and let's add the method, which should be post, and the action, which we want to set to order create, right? So let's add URL orders. What am I doing? Order create, right? And I think this should do it. Maybe you could also, maybe we should also add here type submit. We haven't already, have we? Let me look. No, we didn't. Alrighty, am I forgetting something? I feel like I am. Oh, yeah, CSRF token. Okay, so CSRF token. Yep. Yeah, I think this should do it. Alrighty, so guys, I am embarrassed to say that I have forgotten something important. Do you guys remember we created models in models.py and we never made migrations or ran migrations or any of that, which means our database was never updated. So let's make migrations. Make migrations. Py manage.py migrate. Okay, we've applied migrations. Okay, now let's restart server. So py manage.py run server. Righty, very cool. Okay, now let's check on our website. Let's refresh. Okay, now let's click on proceed to checkout and see what happens. Okay, we got an error at orders create. Cart has no attribute object, and this is an error related to views.py in our orders app. So orders views.py. Okay, cart object.get. Is it objects? I feel like it's objects. Yes, yes. I think we fixed the error, guys. Okay, let's refresh. Continue. Okay, cart object has no attribute item. Oh. Does it say which line in the error? Line 15 in order create. Line 15. Cart dot items. Let's refresh. Yeah, we fixed it. We could probably make it look much better super quickly. So let's open order create again. And we probably want to see what we're doing it while we're doing it. So let's have our browser next to Visual Studio Code like this. Okay, now let's close this. And how about we add a style element here? And we want to target form P, the paragraphs in our form. Let's just try to set margin bottom to 1 rem, just to add spacing. Let's refresh. Ah, I forgot the or. Let's refresh now. Oh, cool. It worked. Nice. Okay. Now for bottom, button, we can just copy the Tailwind classes we've added to any of our buttons in our other templates. I'm just going to open the core detail to the side, and I will copy this, the classes for the proceed checkout button, and just paste them. And then refresh. Yeah, not bad, right? Alrighty, and then maybe a final touch is to just add some classes to the div. I like shadows, so I'll just set shadow MD. Yeah, nice. Let's add some padding. Maybe padding 4. Let's refresh. Okay, kind of better. And I feel that we also need a title. So let's add an H2 element here and have it say checkout maybe. And let's give it some classes. Like, for example, we can make it indigo, right? The color of our buttons and stuff. So text indigo 600. And we want the text to be big. So maybe you can make it text to XL. Let's refresh. Yeah. And also let's make it semi-bold. I guess it was font semi-bold, right? Let's refresh again. Yeah, it was. Cool. All right, let's add some margin bottom, maybe 4. Let's refresh. Yeah, nice. Cool. It worked. I think that looks kind of cool. Alrighty, so now if we click this button after we fill in the form, we should be transferred to the order confirmation page, which we haven't yet done anything to its template. We will do that shortly. You know what? Actually, why not just do it now? Let's just do it now. So I'm going to do what I have been doing since the beginning of this video, I guess. I'm going to open another template to copy stuff from. I'll copy this part and paste it. I'm going to extend base.html and the block title. Actually, why did I call this one order confirmation? This one should be order create, not confirmation. Okay, cool. Okay, now the block content. Actually, let's copy it and paste it. All right. And over here, we want to tell our users that they have successfully created their order, right? So we can say your order has been placed. And then we could give them some information about their order. So maybe you could say below are the details. Okay, maybe the first detail they might want to know in case they want to call the shop and arrange a payment method or whatever. We could say the order ID. We can add a hashtag here, order.id, right? And maybe we want to list the items they bought, right? So we can create an unordered list and let's loop through the items in their order. So for item in order dot items dot all for the list element, and here the item we can have it be strong. Let's wrap it in a strong tag, and let's have here the quantity. So item dot quantity, multiply that times item dot product dot name, and then let's add a break and list the item price in a span element. And then finally we could show the price. All right, so in a paragraph element we can write total, for example, and then show the price. So it will be order dot get total cost. Okay, now let's go back to our website and let's try to fill in the form and click on place order. But first, let's hard refresh. Okay, so Pico, not Oiko. Let's make the name Pico, email Pico at what? At Pico.pico, address Picoland. Let's make it 68 Picoland. All right, let's place order. Yay, Cool. It's order ID 1. Nice. And it's 2 black shirts. Was it only 2 black shirts? I actually don't remember. I feel like it was more than that. Let's try to make another order, okay? So let's get the super shirt. Let's add it to cart. Okay. Let's add the leather jacket. And let's add the light jacket as well. We're gonna be spending a lot of money. All right, let's proceed to checkout. Let's fill the order details. Let's place order. Okay, so it didn't list everything. If I remember correctly, super shirt was the first item we've placed. Which makes me think that I probably messed up the for loop in views.py. Like, I have this feeling that I put the return statement in the for loop and the delete cart and all of that. So only the first item would make it, right? I have this feeling. Okay, so let's go to views.py in our orders app, and we want to find the for loop. Okay, yeah. I delete the cart within the for loop. So literally what I'm telling Django to do is to loop through the items, get them, create an order item, and then delete the cart every time it loops, and delete the cart ID and redirect to order confirmation. Crazy. I can't believe I did this. So let's fix this. It's an indentation error. So this should be here, this should be here, and this should be here. Okay, now I think this should fix it. I hope. All right, so let's go back to our website. Let's hard refresh. And let's try to create a new order. Let's add super shirt. And then let's add this leather jacket. And then maybe let's add this light jacket as well. Let's go to our cart. Okay, we have 3 items. Okay, let's proceed to checkout. Let's fill out the information. I get Pico can fly at pico.com. And let's make the address 999. Let's place the order. We fixed it. You guys, good job. 3rd time the charm, I guess. Okay, nice. Okay, so we are almost done. One last step that we probably really need to do is be able to see the orders from the back end, right? Because shops need to know when orders are created, right? So let's go to the Admin.py in our orders app. And let's register our order model. So first let's import it. So from models, import order. Okay, actually we can open our models.py here to the side so we can see it. Okay, so what we want is to be able to have our order admin page, and within it have our order items showing inside the order admin page. And we'd also like to edit our order items, right? So for this, we are gonna need to have to probably define 2 classes. So let's define the first one, which would be order item inline. And it will inherit from Django's admin.tabular inline. And actually, I forgot to import the models. So from models, import order, and order item. Okay, so let's set the model here, and it is order item. Okay, let's add raw ID fields. Let's set it to product. And this will allow us to search for products by their ID in the inline admin. Okay, so that's it for our order item inline. Now let's define class order admin, which will inherit from admin.modelAdmin. That's the class we also want to register. So let's just add the decorator, admin.register, and the model associated with this is the order model. Let's define list display, and we can just set it to ID and maybe full name, and then email, all name. Okay, and then you could add all the other fields if you wanted to, but I just want to keep it simple for now to make the video as short as possible, because I think it's already gonna be very long. Let's add inlines so that we can have our order item inline show, right? Our order items. So order item inline. Okay, that's it. Now let's go to our admin site. I'm gonna add admin to this. Why this site can't be reached? Okay, let's go back and open terminal. Oh, module named models. What? Oh, I forgot to add a period here. Yeah, I think my brain is not working. Okay, let's now try to go to our admin site. Let's refresh. Yay, we have our orders here. Let's click on it. Very cool. We have the 3 orders we've made. And we have the order items, and we can edit them if we wanted to. We have the details. Yeah, I think this is pretty cool. But I feel like one thing that shop admins usually want to know is when the order was created, right? So maybe we could like allow them to see the created at field as well. So we can go back to our order admin class, and we can add read-only fields, and we can set it to created at. All right, now let's go back and refresh, and I hope to see the created at with the date. Oh, yay, it worked. Nice, good job. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video useful, please don't forget to hit the thumbs up button and write a comment. I really enjoy reading the comments you leave me. And if you haven't subscribed, please don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you have any questions or suggestions, please let me know in the comments also. Thanks so much. See you next time. Bye.